Welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage, and this is going to be another update on this hack job of 65 Mustang. So follow along with me through the intro, and I'll be back. And alright guys, it's been a couple weeks since I made a video on the 65 Mustang. Lots went on, so let me flip it around, I'll show you what I've done, and we'll get on to doing some more. Alright, in our last video we covered putting in the driver's side quarter panel. It's installed. As you can see, I've got the rocker trim off both sides. And any smart man can count these clips right here. We have 7 of them on this side. And they're all put on our crooked down there at the rocker panel and the fender. And over here, seems like we're missing one. And those little white globs are Bondo that they'd actually tried to glue the fender trim on with. You can see little spots of it on both sides all the way up. So, of other things, trim clips on them are on there crooked and in the wrong spot. I found a blob of Bondo in this rocker panel. As you can see, I've ground it out. But I did get the passenger side quarter panel installed. And I ended up getting a pretty good, decent fit right here. We got a dent right here. Had to do quite a bit of work in this area to get these two lines to match up. But it is installed. Still got to make this roof patch for this side. Still got to do a little trimming here. Got a wheel well attached. At that point, I found even more Bondo in this area right here. I know you can't see it in the video, but there's a pretty good little lip right there, and as you can see it. So got the quarter panel installed. I did make an executive decision to weld up these seams. I am going to shave them. Got everything all welded up. Still got to put the trunk corners in, and I did go ahead, since I was putting these quarters in, and put the taillight panel in. I really wanted to cover it in the video all on its own, but I didn't get to. So what I've done, when you put this taillight panel in, guys, I'm going to explain it right here. You want to make sure there is lineup punch tabs in the rear cross member here and the taillight panel. These line up. These center the gas filler for the gas tank. The taillight panel goes inside the quarter panels, not on the outside. And as you can see, I got it welded in here. Got it welded in. I welded it solid all the way down. There's still some more grinding to do. But when you do this, you want to make sure that your tail light will still fit, and it may take some massaging to make it do so. So another thing that will help you when installing a tail panel or quarter panels like this, you want to take a measurement of your trunk, the width in several positions, and mark them. And when you're installing these quarters, especially when you're installing both on the taillight panel, you want to make sure that you measure all the way up as you go. Now you may have to take something like a ratchet strap or something, put in one of these holes and pull these quarters together a little bit at the top, make sure you have a good gap. The alternate method is to put the trunk lid on it and check as you go. So today what we're going to work on is putting these trunk corners in. As you can see, I've got this one mocked up with a couple self-tappers so I can work this gap, work these edges, and get everything attached. So what I was dealing with on this side, we had tons of overlap, as you can see. At this point, we do not have tons of overlap. So, I gotta get this finished welded in. We gotta get this side in, do some final grinding, and then we'll be ready to start trying to strip some paint off these quarters and the roof once we get that patch in over there. And on the taillight panel at the bottom, I did weld it all the way across. On the inside, maybe a little overkill. And after that, we need to put the bumper bracket braces in it. But the car's coming together pretty decently. So I really wanted to film that whole process of putting the taillight panel and stuff in. It just didn't happen. Been a lot of people in the shop this past week. And I started to make a video, and then I run out of welding wire. Imagine that. So, he's officially in the 20 pounds of welding wire club because I've been through 2 10-pound spools, and I'm fixing to put the third one in it. So lots and lots of welding, guys, lots and lots of grinding, and there's going to be lots and lots of body work to do at the end. This car is a good example of why you should always have a pre-purchase inspection done on a classic car, or even a new one if you buy one. Take a good look at what you buy, guys. Save you a lot of money in the end. So let me get this welding wire changed over, get my stuff set out, and we'll get started. And all right, like it, like magic, got our welding wire in the welder, got everything back set up. Got that mocked up tail light out over here. And it's time to start getting this welded in. Now, normally this would be plug welded or spot welded along these seams here, here, and then here. I'm going to fully weld these seams because once the seam sealer's on them, you won't ever see it, and it will make a stronger bond. So let's get to that. And all right, guys, got that fully welded in there all the way around. So this trunk corner will never come out again. It'll have to be cut out. So now we need to address these holes where I put them self-tappers to hold this panel flush to the quarter and taillight panel. Don't worry, I'll show you how to fit the other side here in just a moment, but this side I'd already fitted when the other video got aborted. So let's get this stuff welded up. So as you can see, I just took a flat disc, knocked the highs down here. Like I said, this gets seam sealed, this gets seam sealed, this gets seam sealed all the way across there here. So as long as you're flush here, 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 and here, and you're fully welded in, that trunk corner ain't gonna go nowhere. Unlike the old ones where I just pulled them off, because that's literally how it was welded. Anybody else see any welds anywhere? Just a little bit right there, a little bit right there on a brand new panel. At least that side ain't coming out. And of course, here's Daisy. So I know not real action packed, but this stuff's got to be done. It's stuff that you may have to do in your car, especially these trunk corners. So let's get to it, guys. So now we're going to start fitting this other side. See if we can't get it in there. Once those are in there, I may go ahead and clean that stuff up and go ahead and seam seal it. That way it can be drying. I like to let my seam sealer dry at least 24, 48 hours, up to a week before I paint it. Just personal preference. So we're going to move along. We'll be in the body work portion of this before too long. All right, so how do we fit these trunk corners? Well, I can tell you one thing, these fit as horrible as the rest of the metal in the car. So basically what I done, guys, on the other side, I held it up here. I kind of got a rough idea of where I need to cut. I marked it a little ways back, just like that. Same with the other side. These are quite a bit different in the weld seams. I don't know if you see in the video, but you see a lot of black here. This taillight panel is actually shorter right here where it meets up. So I'm going to mark it there. And of course I'm going to cut on the other side of my lines. But when I say this stuff fits horrible, guys, I mean, it's pretty bad. So I'm just gonna mark this stuff where we fit. And a lot of you may be wondering, well, why did you leave red paint on it? I'll clean all that off. I literally wire brush the other side off because I'm pretty sure this red is just spray paint. Comes off mega easy. So let's get this cut and trimmed up. See if we can't get it in the car. I don't know. This red paint is horrible stuff, guys. I don't know if you see, but you can't even grind this stuff off with a flat disc. It like just turns to goo and smears. Really wish you would have had this whole car blasted, but he didn't want to go that route. So flip around. Let me show you my flat disc filled up full of paint. See how paint transfer? It's actually gummed up the grit that's there. It's pretty nasty stuff. This stuff's just horrible. As you can see, it's not real high quality either. I sprayed a little black paint on this just where if I do go ahead and go in here and seam seal it, I know this is bare metal under it. But let's get to fitting this and see what we got. So guys, vice grips like these come real handy when doing stuff like this because you can reach around stuff to kind of fit it up. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this thing in here and secured. And then I am going to take my wire brush and I am going to strip the rest of this horrible red paint off. Then maybe we can make a little forward progress. But this stuff's horrible, horrible. So, you know, high quality. I only have one pair of them vice grips, so sometimes it makes just, I guess, a challenge, so to say. So the only good thing out of this whole thing right there, at least I got a hole for a self tapper right here. I'm gonna screw it up in there and see what we got. But when I say this stuff fits horrible, guys, you can see right here. We're right here at the seam here. It don't fit here. It don't fit here. You know, stuff you gotta make work. So, like I've told you 100 times, aftermarket metal fits like crap. Even when you spend the money to buy the good stuff, it still fits bad. And sometimes all you can do is just try to bend and stretch this stuff until it actually does fit. And tweak it around and all that good stuff. So we'll end up putting a few more self tappers in this than I wanted to, but just the way it works sometimes. And sometimes they just don't go in either. Some of you fancy guys might have some Placo clips or stuff like that to do things like this with, but go around here. So Show you right here. Got pretty good fit here, got pretty good fit up here. Obviously this is gonna have to be, addressed. But it's flush. It's flush. Here, and here we are, tail light panel, and we got a horrible, horrible gap. So it's gonna take some beating and some pulling and some other fun stuff. So let me get to that. Well, no beating was required. It just took me some doing with the vice grips there, and I got pulled around. So at this point, I want to tack this in a couple spots. Now I'm going to come in here with a wire brush and get all this crap off here. Yep. And as you can see, that paint comes off with almost no trouble at all. So now we need to get this all spotted in here. We're going to start taking these screws out and start fitting the corners. So let's get to that. Alright, so now got that all spotted up. Work on going in here and tapping these flanges down where they're flush 100%. Make sure everything fits good and tight. But as you can see, we're finally lined up here, we're lined up here, lined up down here. And I just put some tacks in various places, and I went ahead and welded up the little gap we had right here, that you're always going to have with these kind of installs. And got it all spot welded in there. Got our lip spot welded together. A little grind will make a good clean transition there. Got all our holes drilled up. So a little clean up of the flap disc, and we should be in business. Alright, got that ground down with flap disc, cleaned up. As you can see, I stripped all the paint out of this right here, because I'm not putting anything over this old garbage red paint. Stuff is very horrible stuff. But on a side note, this $14 Warrior Harbor Freight grinder almost made it through the whole car. I put in about 6 floor pans with this. Done some other metal work over time, and done every piece of cutting and grinding on this car with this $14 Warrior angle grinder, and it literally just now died. So money well spent, guys. That's literally the cheapest thing they got, and it's done almost 90% of the car. Can't beat that for the money. Well, it's a little while later, and I got that roof patched up. This roof, I assume this car probably had a vinyl top from the factory, because it's pretty thin in some spots. And while the patch, like the other side, is not beautiful, once it's body worked out, you won't never see it. So I guess next order of business is to work on the bumper brackets, get them in, and I'll show you why they don't fit. So the reason they don't fit is the holes don't line up in them. Now, it's going to be common. You can see your holes, and you can see your holes on the other side. This is 100% in the car level. The rear frame rails where floor pans are 100% level. Got to level up there. I've checked this stuff, measured as I've went to make sure everything lines up. So we got to get those in there. We'll make the holes match. Then we'll go from there. Just when you think that the simple things line up, guess what? They don't. So the bumper brackets, you got two choices. You drill plug weld holes in them and plug weld them to the floor pan, or you can fully weld them in. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to fully weld them in. The point of this car being so structurally compromised, I feel better just fully welding this stuff, even though it may or may not look factory. But in the end, it will be a good, safe car. So let's get started getting it done. And as you can see, we have good penetration there. So the welds are kind of ugly on the inside, but they're solid. It's welded across and solid. Now, I'm going to repeat that on the other side. But first, we're going to get these holes lined up in this tail panel. That way we'll have both bumper on. Well, both bumper braces are in there. The holes are realigned. Everything looks good. Even where I had to readjust holes, they measure the same from floor to the tops and bottoms. So at this point, I've done blew the car out again with air hose. I'm going to come in here and seam seal these. Seam seal this rear wall. Seam seal the bottom of the quarters. And a couple other key places that needs to be seam sealed, like right here and here. Since I've already stripped all the paint off in these areas, it'll make it easy. And then later we'll come in here and we'll strip this red the rest of the way off to the points. So unfortunately, all the red's got to come off. When you do poor quality work, guys, you have to go all the way back down. Well, guys, the next clip after that one got, I guess, deleted. But I went ahead and I finished seam sealing the floor. So that stuff can dry a couple days. I've got to pick up another grinder, probably in the morning. I'm going to wait to the shop. At this point, it's pretty late in the day. So I wasn't going to run back to the shop and film the outro of this video. But got quite a bit done today, even though it really don't seem like a whole lot. That was a full day's worth of work condensed down into, a short video. But it's just the way it works sometimes. Sometimes things just don't work out and you have to figure out how to get through them. So if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button, share this video with your friends, so maybe they won't buy something like this Mustang and end up stuck with it. And most importantly, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. If you are a subscriber, I really appreciate you watching. And as always, I look forward to seeing your comments down below. And until next time, guys, our next video, which will probably be on the Torino, I'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching.